Happy International Women's Day. To celebrate, I am going to tell you about a woman who soared through that glass ceiling. Her name is Elise de Roche, the first woman to earn a pilot's license on this day in 1910. So who was she? Well, Elise was born in Paris in 1882, the daughter of a plumber. She liked sports, she liked motorbikes, she liked cars. She was an entertainer by trade under the stage name Raymonde de la Roche. Singer, dancer, actor, comedian, she did it all. She married in 1900, but she got a divorce 9 years later. Good for you, girl. She took sculptor and aviator Ferdinand Léon de Lagrange as her lover, and they had a son in 1909, an overlap with the divorce that we will not look too closely at. Léon died a year later in an airplane crash, but it was through him that Elise became interested in aviation. So how did she learn then? Well, she asked her friend Charles Besson to teach her how to fly a plane. The plane only had one seat though, so she operated it whilst Charles shouted instructions up to her from the ground. Thank God she was good at it, eh? I'd have crashed that bugger immediately. After 4 months of lessons, she made her first flight. It was 300 yards across the airfield on the 22nd of October 1909, and this is cited as the first time a woman ever flew a plane. The first pilot's licenses were issued in 1910 by the Aero Club de France, and Elise was right in there. She was the 36th person to be issued a licence. Do you know what? I find it quite refreshing to know that women were never barred from having a pilot's licence. Flight magazine, they referred to her as Baroness for some reason, and despite not being nobility in any way, she just kind of went with it, and do you know what? I think I would have too. So, what did this mean for her then? Well, she took part in air shows, she was congratulated by Tsar Nicholas II, and on the 25th of November 1913, she set a record for non-stop long-distance flight which lasted 4 hours. She served as a military driver in World War I, and she married a guy called Jacques in 1915. But now, the pilot's lifestyle, especially at this time, it meant that she saw her fair share of crashes. She crashed her plane twice in 1910. The second time, it almost killed her, and it took her 2 years to recover when tragedy struck again. In 1912, she was severely injured in a car accident that killed her friend and teacher, Charles Besson. In June of 1919, she set 2 more world records, an altitude record for flying 15,700 feet and a distance record of 201 miles. A month later, on the 18th of July 1919, she attended the Le Créteil airfield as she was hoping to become the first female test pilot. Whilst co-piloting an experimental aircraft, the plane went into a dive on the approach for landing, killing both pilots. She was only 36 years old. So, what is aviation like for women today? Well, according to the Civil Aviation Authority, only 6% of pilots worldwide are female, but this number is rising. There has been a 43% increase in the number of licenses issued to women for commercial flying in recent years. Now, I'm just speculating, but I imagine the greatest barrier at this point is financial. Gone are the days of just asking your mate to show you how to fly his plane. It can cost up to £100,000 to become a pilot these days, just due to the amount of training and flight hours that are required. But there are different schemes and training programs, so don't let that dishearten you. You just might have to be a bit more creative in how you get there. So, happy International Women's Day, everyone, and thank you so much to Elise de Roche for your service. Thank you for watching. Why not subscribe? And I'll see you tomorrow.